And now it's time for the ridiculous.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list?
A list?
You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.
Welcome to The Ridiculous.
We're back with episode 3.
Episode 3, and it's so fun. We're drinking wine.
It is.
And cheers.
It is wine. It is wine, and we're having a great time.
We're having a great time. We're drinking wine. And you know what I think that means?
It's time for lists.
Let's get to the lists.
Okay.
All right, my list is first. Put my wine down and put my glasses on. Very sophisticated here. Okay, so it is from an article in Vice, and this is horror Airbnb stories.
Oh my God! As a comedian that's traveled a bunch, yeah, I've had a few.
Yeah, what's your any notable?
The most notable one was I remember staying at this it was a house that was a group, a bunch of us stayed in it.
Yeah.
In North Carolina. It was for the North Carolina Comedy Festival. And my room specifically, it was a very old house, but my room specifically was adorned with tiny Victorian children's clothing encased in shadow boxes.
Yeah.
And then porcelain dolls all over the bed, and it was, and the house was very old and creaky, and and then there was another framed picture of a child's handprint, but with no explanation or name or anything, just a red handprint. I feel bad saying this, but I don't think she listens. But I will preface it by saying she's the most wonderful human being. But my ex-mother-in-law travels a lot, or did travel a lot, and she gave my daughter these little porcelain dolls for everywhere she went or whatever, and they freaked the shit out of she's scared of them. So my closet is filled with them. So when you open my closet doors, you're just greeted with porcelain doll faces and the little eyeballs with the fluttering.
Yeah, I think that is a thing. That was such a big part of our mothers and mother-in-laws generation's childhood, that they're oh, it just makes you think oh, I want to give this to a little girl, but
sure,
in today's context, it's a fucking horror movie.
I
stayed at an Airbnb like that too, where it was dolls just staring at you, and it was so creepy.
It is creepy.
Okay, so the person who wrote this, they said, 2 years ago, I decided to go to New York alone on a whim. There were only a few Airbnb options left, so I ended up getting a room in Bushwick for very cheap. Turns out there was a reason it was so cheap. My quote-unquote bedroom had curtains instead of walls, and the woman who lived there stayed up all night walking back and forth in the tiny house and burping loudly until it was light outside.
Oh my God.
Other things happened while I was there too. The woman's son asked me to do a photo shoot of me on the roof. I politely obliged for reasons I'm unsure of, and he then sent me the photos via email. One night, I walked into the kitchen, and there was a man sprawled face first on the floor. He was breathing. I checked. When I left, the host gifted me with a pair of slightly dirty, white, size 7 shoes. I wear a size 3.
You wear a size 3?
I don't know.
You would try?
I know. Now I'm wondering if this is true. Who wrote this? Maybe that. Well, they also said trainers, so maybe this is British sizes.
British size, yeah, that makes more sense.
Could be British.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's very scary.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another, and I think that of all the Airbnbs, I mean, I think when Airbnb first started, it was like the Wild West.
It really was. And that was back when you were okay with staying in somebody's third bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Totally.
I did that lots of times, just
Yeah.
stayed at somebody's house, like with them, which is just the most uncomfortable thing. But like a lot of times, I mean, now people run Airbnbs as like apartments or like
Right.
for rent. But then, and maybe sometimes now, you were like actually staying at, it was like meant to be like, I'm staying in someone's home while they're away.
Yeah.
And so their stuff would be there. We stayed at Airbnb in Paris. It was us, our friends, Steve and Carlene. And we get there and it was like the best spot. Like it was right, like you could see from the window, you could see the Eiffel Tower. It was right, like downstairs was like an amazing bakery. Like it was like perfect Parisian experience, except the guy who was renting it, we were like, we were pretty sure that he was maybe house sitting for like some neighbors or like for this old Russian couple because like he came like that it was a 1-bedroom and then he was staying I think across the hall, but we looked and when he opened the door across the hall, it seemed like it was maybe just a closet that he was staying in, and then he was then Airbnb-ing out whoever he was supposed to be house sitting for, because it was not cleaned. None of their stuff was put away. It was like as if they had just left home.
Right.
And we were like, well, it was only $70 a night.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, but a lot of like the horror stories are, I think New York City is still kind of that way.
Yeah.
Right, where like people just try to get away with the shadiest shit.
Oh, my apartment when I lived in New York City was like the weirdest fucking setup, but it was also awesome. I found I lived on Roosevelt Island, and then I lived it was like, but I had
cool.
a proper 1-bedroom. It was like a 1-bedroom, pretty large apartment. I'd say about like 900 square feet, and I had my own courtyard, and then I was on the river. And I paid $1,400 a month for it, which, you know, back in the early 2000s was actually still reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, it was like,
I mean, but still, like
it's a lot, but it was also reasonable.
Yeah,
but
that setup.
But how I found it was this guy that used to shop at my store that I managed here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, my friend has a place. You come in?" And then I was like, "Oh, I'm coming in New York this weekend. I'll look at places." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going there too. I stay there for free." And I was like, "Cool." And then like he texted me, and I came and I met him. He's like, "Do you like it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Okay, well, do you want it?" And I was like, yeah, do I need to like sign something? I never signed a thing, but I just started putting $1,400 a month into a bank account, and I stayed in this furnished apartment in New York for like a year, and
crazy.
and I never questioned anything. I never met the guy.
No.
I never saw his face or whatever. And it was just the weirdest setup, and it was in an old insane asylum that was turned into apartments. Yeah, and I was like, cool,
great. Oh, I mean, there's nothing could go wrong here.
If I was watching myself in a movie, I would be like, you're crazy.
Yeah,
don't do that. But I was like, what? Great deal.
This is a great deal. Why would I pass it up?
It was crazy, but it was a cool apartment. But
it was a cool apartment.
What's funny is there's a movie called Dark Water with Jennifer Connelly, which is like about haunted apartments on Roosevelt Island, and it was filmed in the building next to mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was
Roosevelt
crazy.
is so cool. Okay, this is also a New York Airbnb horror story. So I went to New York in August for work and had Airbnb booked on the Upper West Side. Didn't really know what to expect. I was working all day and didn't get to the house until about 10:30 p.m. It was a big brownstone building. The host came to the door and told me to be very quiet. I thought, fair enough, it's late. She led me up these pitch black steps to the door and said, "We have one rule, no speaking." Like, not at all. She said, "We feel it provides a better atmosphere of peace in the apartment. If you need to take a call or speak, please go to the bathroom." So I was fucking knackered. So I just went, "Oh, okay." She led me to the room and pointed to my bed. I looked down and there were 7 mattresses with 7 sleeping Australian backpackers around the floor. I thought I was hallucinating. The images on the website said it was an open-plan apartment and had no indication that I'd be flanked on all sides by lads in vests. You have a privacy curtain, she said. It was just a sheet which hung from the left side of the bed.
Oh my God.
And could be pinned to the right. The sheet was about the size of a large pillowcase. It covered just my face and chest. I was just like, are you fucking joking? But passed out anyway, exhausted. I woke up at 7 a.m. to the word fire being screamed by our host. She'd knocked over a lit candle and, understanding what a huge fire hazard the gaff was, panicked. The flame went out as soon as it hit the floor, but hot red wax was spilled everywhere and sprayed up the wall, and she just sat crying on the floor hysterically. I popped my head out from behind the privacy pillowcase and found her crying, cross-legged on the floor, trying to chip a wax off a pair of shoes. It honestly looked like a horror film. It was still dark, and she was only lit by the light of her phone torch. I got up and packed and went to speak, but she cut me off, sobbing, "Have I ruined New York for you?" And I said, "No, of course not." She noticed my bags, and I noticed her notice and said, "I'm just going out for a bit." I took all my shit and left the key on the side. I requested a refund, and they paid within 12 hours. I don't imagine it was the first or last to make that request.
Oh my God.
That's like...
hostile shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real bad. This one's very funny. Okay. I went on holiday alone to Florence for a week. The Airbnb was nice enough, standard Italian apartment with big windows and a balcony, etc., so I was pleased to be there. The host seemed nice too, just a polite guy in his 30s. But I kept noticing little things, like my bag moving from one side of the bed to the other, or things in my room changing place. I thought I'd just forget about it. It's not like I left any valuables in there, as I brought my passport and my money with me everywhere. But then one night I came back and noticed that the host was wearing my socks.
Oh my God.
They were stripy pink and blue. I bought them from a small shop in St. Ives, so definitely mine. I was like, aren't those my socks? In a jokey way, so it wouldn't be awkward. And he acted really surprised, making up excuses that he found them behind his bed and assumed they were his. He washed them and gave them back. I let that go, like, whatever, right? They're just socks. Maybe he really liked them. But then other things started to happen. One night I came back after being at a bar and a couple of my t-shirts were outside my bag and also a white vest was missing. Being a bit drunk, I confronted him and so he said something about not being sure if I wanted my clothes washed. I was like, thank you, but I don't touch my clothes. He didn't do anything more after that. We got along politely and avoided each other for the rest of my stay. I left an honest review of the place saying it was nice, but he kept touching my clothes. He replied saying I was a liar and paranoid. The whole thing was really weird.
Oh my God, that is weird.
Yeah, just like little weird things where you'd be like, okay, I'm in a foreign country. I don't have another place to stay. I'm just going to put up with these little inconveniences. But then you're like...
And I feel like the dynamic is different if is that a woman and there was a
so 2 guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still weird. Yeah.
It's weird. That's what makes it more, yes, it would be like, I mean, very creepy if it was a woman traveler and a man. I would never stay in a place where there was a guy host if I was staying in their apartment.
Yeah.
Like this. No. Okay, so here's another one. So I turned up at this woman's Airbnb. It's got good vibes. Pictures of Bjork on the toilet wall, lots of nice vapors, lovely records. And then we get to talking about her record album, a record collection. She invites me into her living room and shows me some of the people on her wall. Billie Holiday, Amy Winehouse. And then I look above her piano and I'm like, who's that? Knowing full well, it's Osama bin Laden. And she's like, oh, that's Osama bin Laden. He's my father. I asked her how she knows that, and she said the radio told her after he died.
Oh my God.
And then she warns me to stay inside for the duration of my holiday because an attack is coming. The day after that, I come into her playing like 5 different radios on different frequencies, blaring around the house while she lies in the bath. Then afterwards, she climbs in my bed. It was a lot. I didn't know what to do, so eventually I leave saying maybe she should call someone on Monday. I was trying to help, but I felt kind of clueless.
Oh my God.
And this I mean, he's 24 now, so who knows? This was Sean, 24. Okay, I think this is my last one, but I think it's very funny.
Okay.
This was a replacement Airbnb in South Williamsburg after the last one fell through. I was staying with this eccentric middle-aged lady who, when I arrived, was playing the Strokes at top volume on her stereo.
That's great.
Hello,
I
I
love the
can't.
Strokes.
Hello, I can't turn it off, she shouted. She was smoking a spliff to calm herself down. I'm sorry about this. You can smoke if you want. And I said, have you unplugged it? That worked. I dropped my bags in my room and went for a shower. Okay, one rule, she said. Be careful of the bathroom. I'm nursing a pigeon back to health in there. This little pigeon I found on the fire escape with a broken wing, and I have 4 cats, and they know she's in there, and they want her dead. You have to sneak into the bathroom. Don't let the cats kill her. I was like,
my God.
Fucking hell. Anyway, the cats didn't murder the pigeon. The pigeon made a full recovery, and the host wrote a creepy review of my stay saying I was a very attractive British man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's funny that most of these are British because one of my creepiest hostel stays was in London.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we had it was the worst hostel ever. It was disgusting. It was with my ex-husband. We went in we were in our early 20s and we went and we had a roommate that was it was all dudes except for me. And then we woke up to a guy who had night terrors and was screaming, and we were all of us were looking at each other what the fuck. And but nobody spoke the same language, so we were all very confused. And then I remember going in there, one day we went in to request a different room or to try to leave early or something, and all of our luggage was just sitting in the middle of the lobby, completely unexplained, but all of our luggage specifically was in the middle of the lobby.
That's nuts.
I know, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So those Brits, man, I wouldn't. Don't go there. Just don't. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Just kidding.
All right. Are you ready for mine?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, great. Mine is from BuzzFeed, compiled by Kelly Martinez.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. And this is, I thought this was so interesting.
Okay.
This is stories of people who have won a lifetime supply of something and what really happened with that.
Okay, I'm
Because you
so
always hear
curious.
about lifetime supply.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean, and what do you really do with the thing?
Yeah.
The lifetime. Okay. This person, their name is Famous for Assholes, said, roommate and I won a lifetime supply of butter in college. Apparently, Lifetime was 2 pounds of butter a week for a year. Stocked it up, got drunk, and tried to make a slip and slide with all the butter. It went okay. For all of those wondering about the success of the butter slide, remember to let your butter melt for a while to provide sufficient lubrication. Even with the sting of butter and the road rash, I would give the experience a 7 out of 10 would do again.
I was thinking that maybe they did have you ever been to a state fair?
And where it's fried butter.
Oh no, where they do butter sculptures, or is that just in Ohio? Is that just in the Midwest?
Ohio.
All right, Midwest people, I want you to know if at your state fair do you have butter sculptures? Because at the Ohio State Fair, there's always a butter cow, a life-size cow sculpted of butter.
Oh my God.
And I just assumed that every state fair had that.
No.
No.
No, absolutely not. This reminds me of, I remember in college, we had this friend, his name was Reese, and he was one of those guys that would just fucking do anything you asked him to do for the laugh. And I remember he was dared to eat a stick of butter, and everybody chanted eat the butter, eat the butter. And this is all on video, and it's referred to as the butter video, who has the butter video. And everybody was chanting, eat the butter, eat the butter.
And they probably were taking the video with a video camera.
Yeah, it was. I think it was my friend Jeff Buchanan, who, funnily enough, is a Emmy Award winning, the editor for Barry.
Yeah.
Has edited all of Michel Gondry's movie. He went on to do big, amazing
and this
things.
was his first.
Yeah, it was the butter video. Sorry, Jeff, for outing you. But his yeah, he's like incredibly talented and famous and does remarkable work, but it all started with butter.
Did he eat the whole thing? Like,
yeah, so he ate the butter.
How did he eat it? Like, across like a...
No, like chom. And then, so he ate the whole butter. And then, so everybody said they'd give him $1 if they ate the butter.
Yeah.
And then, I believe it was Jeff, I could be wrong, it could have been somebody else, offered him $2 if he ate the dollar. And then everybody started chanting, like, eat the dollar. So he ate the dollar, and then he got sick all over everything.
Well, yeah, well, he ate $1 after a stick of butter.
I can't remember what happens after that, but...
Can I tell you the most shameful thing I've ever eaten?
What?
A goldfish. A live goldfish.
What the fuck, dude?
I know.
Are you serious?
I know. It was like a thing at a frat party. I don't know. You
just got swept up in the moment.
I got swept up. It was like a thing. Like, I think it was from a movie that people were doing it at frat parties. And so then this party, they had a big thing of goldfish. And we're like, isn't that horrible? I can't believe I'm admitting that.
It could still be in you.
I'm 45 and it still makes me feel sad. I still feel ashamed. But I was totally that girl who was like, I'm fucking cool. I'm down. I'll do it. And just fucking swallowed it whole.
Goldfish is just sitting on like, Lazy Boy, like the Mucinex guy somewhere in your
I think it's
body.
like that, the like cartoons of like a fish scale with like the X on the eyes. It's just sitting in there. Like a teeny tiny little.
God, that's terrible.
I should have put that on my guilty.
I know.
That's not a pleasure. It was just a mistake, you guys. I'm sorry.
Mistake that you feel guilty for.
Don't come at me.
This one says, when I was a kid, I won a contest at a local ice cream shop where you guess the number of jelly beans in a jar.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. I won a lifetime supply of free milkshakes. Unfortunately, the place went out of business a few months later. What a letdown. Well,
I
know.
I mean, I don't know if you should be giving away a free lifetime supply. Maybe they just not good business people.
They probably knew they were out of business.
Right.
And that was like, we're going out of business, so that was their Hail Mary pass. It's like, either we give this guy free milkshakes, and that's fine, and we survive, if we go to business. And who gives a shit? That's actually really smart. This person, News Startin, said, my brother-in-law won the Chipotle Adventurito thing and won free burritos for a year. There are 52 coupons for burritos. He used some of them, but now he uses them as alternative currency. Homeless man asking for money, Chipotle burrito. Not sure what to do for a casual gift, Chipotle burrito coupon.
Yeah.
Want to tip a person without giving money? Here's a burrito. That's a dick move.
That's a dick move. You do not tip with a burrito.
And then it says, guess what I got for Christmas?
Underwear!
This one says, my mom and dad bought a water softener about 22 years ago. With it came a lifetime supply of bar soap. The company gave it to them all at once. It was a pallet of bar soap. Thousands of bars of soap. They still have a bunch of it.
Does bar soap go bad?
I don't
know, right?
Think
no.
So. I don't know.
Some crusty soap.
Yeah. A friend of mine won a lifetime supply of Smarties from a distributor. The delivery was a 120-pound case of Smarties. He's a professional film editor, so he spends a lot of time at his computer. He's also often too lazy to cook proper meals. So he put the 120-pound case of Smarties next to his desk, and then he proceeded to consume all of it in a matter of weeks.
No.
That is not okay. You need to go to the hospital if you did that.
I used to, for 4 or 5 years, I worked for Mentos and Airheads, and I did their social media posts. And so what I would because I was taking pictures and then I was writing the captions, and so I had I had file cabinets full of every single kind of Mentos, Airheads, and anytime something new would come, I get a big shipment, and but you think you want to have all that kind of candy in your house, and it is I literally couldn't even look at it. It was so gross.
My ex-husband was a
right.
candy salesman.
Yeah.
like gourmet, like Jelly Belly.
Yeah.
And
I forgot that,
like gourmet chocolate truffles. So our whole office was filled ceiling, like to floor of candy.
It's candy.
And people would ask me all the time, like, oh, like, do you love it? And I was like, I just don't even care that it's in there. It's annoying.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my kids didn't even want it. It was just like, if it's available to, it's like drugs.
It's like drugs.
You know,
that's why drugs should be legal.
People would not give a fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys, that is our story for today.
It's like, if it's a special treat, then yeah. But if it's available all the time, you don't want it.
Yeah.
Or you get so sick of it.
Which is why I think I'm like, I totally buy into the like not making for kids, like not making sweets and food, like certain things like off limits.
Right.
Like just being like, yeah, you can have it as just like a normal whatever, because it is the like, ooh, it's bad, or ooh, it's forbidden, I shouldn't have it, you know?
Yeah. This one says, I won a lifetime supply of Pop-Tarts when I was younger. They sent a big box with around 30 of the normal shelf boxes every 3 months for about 3 years, and then started dwindling off to eventually not sending any. I could never get into contact with someone to do anything about it, so I just let it go. I didn't even realize I won until I received the first huge box. But I even hid the boxes from my parents and sister for a while because I didn't want to share. But that didn't last long. You can only do so much as a kid to hide dozens of boxes when you don't take out the trash.
And like that you get a delivery.
Yeah, I know.
3 months worth of Pop-Tart boxes. Oh man, I think maybe they just like they dwindled because they're like, you have to be sick of these by now, right?
Yeah. This one's funny. It says, I currently receive what seems to be a lifetime supply of toilet paper. Over 20 years ago, I became fond of a variety of Charmin that was infused with baby oil because it was soft and smooth. Mm-hmm. When I moved for work, the local stores didn't have baby oil Charmin, and I was told that it didn't exist. I called Procter & Gamble to find out what was up, and was told that the baby oil version was only offered as a test market and didn't turn out so well, so it was no longer sold in stores. I was crushed. The company did, however, take my name and address, and I was told that I would receive coupons in the mail for my inquiry and interest in their product. About 3 weeks later, a box of Procter & Gamble that contained 2 separate 4-packs of toilet paper, one marked A and the other marked B. The letter that was enclosed stated that since I had such a penchant for toilet paper, I had been selected to test out their new varieties. I was instructed to use the package marked A for a week and then switch to the package marked B the following week. After 2 weeks, I received a call from the company asking about the results of my test. They asked questions like, could I name 3 adjectives describing my experience with both types of toilet paper? It was definitely a phone call to remember. At the end of the call, I was told that I would receive coupons and their considerations in the mail for my participation in this test. Ever since then, I've received a free 4-pack of Charmin toilet paper once a month, every month. This has gone on for 20 years, and it doesn't look like it would stop.
That's amazing.
You gotta love a company like that. Like, good on Charmin. Yeah. That's great.
I wonder if she lived in Cincinnati, because it is a test market. Like, yeah, because that's where Procter & Gamble is headquartered. Like, there's a bunch of like Chiquita was there, Procter, P&G, GE. There's a bunch of like big whatever companies there, but because of like, I don't know, geographically, the Midwest, whatever, it's a test market. So there were lots of times like you go to like a fast food place and they'd have like something weird on the menu and it wouldn't be anywhere else. They were just like testing it out. And so, yeah, so maybe, I wonder if she's in Cincinnati. And I also love that like she called the company and was like, where is my baby oil? I need my butt to get
so funny.
soft.
I wish I noticed things like that. Like, I wish I noticed toilet paper like that.
Honestly, I could not tell you. I can tell you when we have bad toilet paper. Like when we get like during the pandemic, at one point Ben bought like a giant thing of 1-ply toilet paper, like the kind that's for like a well water or sewer, you know, like. And it took so long to get through because it was like 1-ply. and like we're so cheap that we're like, we have to get through this before we start the next one. And Max would be like, I would never mix my butter. And I'd be like, just use it.
I remember I was managing an office building, and you would think that like in an office building you would just like go in, do your job, and you leave, and you work, and you leave. But I had this guy that wouldn't stop talking to me about like how the paper towels were so thin in the bathrooms, and it was so annoying to him, and like when are we gonna get new paper towels? And I was like, listen buddy, these were ordered in bulk a long time ago. Get on board. You've got about 4 years worth of these paper towels before anything else is gonna change.
For our wedding, it was very DIY, like everything was very DIY, and I ordered these. I thought it'd be really fun to have these napkins that had trivia questions printed on them, and they had like, you know, whatever. But
what a real party starter!
what a fun gal. So I ordered these napkins, and I thought they were like from eBay. I'm sure, like they came. First of all, had to be at least 20 years old. Like they were crusty napkins, no. And I thought I was ordering like 200, and instead I ordered like 2,000. And so we used those trivia napkins for so long. They were not absorbent at all.
Oh no. This one says, my dad worked in marketing for transportation catering in the 90s, and Snapple gave us a full truck of every single one of their product types.
Wait, a full truck?
Yeah, that's what it says. They stop by every 6 months or so to get our feedback and ask us if we wanted more. At one point, we had a Snapple-only double fridge in our laundry room to chill 3 of each flavor, while the rest were in boxes taking up a good part of our garage. My cousin tried to maintain a bottle top collection, but lost count after 5,000. I have no idea if my dad still gets Snapple, but in his house still has a Snapple-only fridge. It was awesome, bordering magical. I would replace my veins with 90s Snapple if I could. No regrets.
Do you think that Snapple, is it still around?
I think so.
Does it still have Snapple facts on the inside?
I think so. I remember being in my first year of college, I had an apartment. I supported myself, but like my mom, I think, like took me to Costco one day.
Yeah.
She felt bad for me. And she bought me like, and we bought like Snapple.
Yeah.
And I hide them under my bed because all of my degenerate
idiot
friends would
you can't have something nice like Snapple.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I can't remember who this was that I was with. This just made me think of like I was with someone where we were at like a store, and they bought there was like clearly Canadian in something. Was I with you?
Oh yeah.
Were we together?
I don't know.
This happened, and somebody like opened it and took a drink and was like, tastes like the 90s.
I don't think I was with you, but I do love the Canadian. This one was funny. I never got the full story of how they got them, but my grandparents somehow ended up with 24 or so pallets of Tic Tacs in various flavors. To put this in perspective, consider how big those plastic containers of Tic Tacs come in are. Are they? They're pretty small.
I was thinking, well, maybe they made the like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
now consider how many could fit in a fully stacked pallet and multiply it several times over. It was pretty awesome until we ran out of the orange ones.
Oh yeah, those are the best ones.
This one is painful to read. When my friend was 16, he won a lifetime supply of M&Ms because he found one of those packs with all the white M&Ms. Do you remember that contest?
Yes.
Okay. The contest was to win $1 million. He gave it to his mom and had her send it in since he wasn't 18. She didn't believe that he had won $1 million, so she procrastinated sending it in. After she eventually did, they got a letter stating that they had not gotten the wrapper sent in on time, so no $1 million, but they were going to send them a lifetime supply of M&Ms. Oh. In the letter, there was a redemption card he could send in and get 52 coupons for 1 pack of free M&Ms each. Of free M&Ms each, plus a redemption card for the next year. He did this for 5 or 6 years until he lost the redemption card.
Oh man!
The first year he got all the M&Ms and ate them himself. He really wished he had gotten the $1 million. Can you imagine forgiving your mother for that?
Oh man! Like, my life could be so different.
Yeah,
I'm sure she was thinking the same. Like,
I'll read a couple more. This one says, a friend of mine won a lifetime supply of Juicy Fruit gum when she was 12 years old. She told me that she was absolutely in love with Juicy Fruit at the time. Her mom entered her in this random contest as a joke. And without any notice, UPS showed up at her door with 15 huge boxes. She was so confused. So she opened the boxes and there it was, a couple thousand packs of gum.
Wow.
The company never sent her a letter or any piece of acknowledgement that she won, just a ton of gum. Today, the sight of Juicy Fruit makes her sick. It's funny because a lot of these places are like, I never got any like letter.
Yeah.
It's almost like, here you fucking shithead. You know what I mean?
We have to fulfill our contractual
Fine.
obligations.
You won. What are you happy? Here's your burrito. This one says, this one is crazy. In 1974, my dad was a detective in the Vice Squad. One night, they busted a few guys driving a truck that had many kilograms of cocaine hidden against a shipment of razors. After the trial, all the guys in his unit got to take home as many razors as they wanted. I was born 8 years later, and neither my dad nor I have had to buy razors since. If someone sees me shaving, they might ask where I got that 1970s razor. That is crazy.
It's a cocaine razor.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember my boyfriend in high school, Dave. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Dave.
We're Facebook friends now. So I don't know if he listens. Thanks, God.
I think all of our Facebook friends listen.
He was older than me. I was in high school when he was in college.
Dave.
Yeah, I know. Come on. What were you doing?
What were you doing, Dave?
But he was very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I was the bad influence on Dave.
Yeah.
He filled out a card when he was getting his oil change. And he won a year's supply of Chick-fil-A, and he got a stack of cards like this big of Chick-fil-A meals, and he gave them to me because he was the sweetest. And so I remember being like me and my friends going to Myrtle Beach on $30 to our name, and 12 of us in a hotel room, and a case of PBR, and we all lived off Chick-fil-A for the entire trip. It funded our Myrtle Beach trip. So thanks, man.
Thanks, Dave,
You're
and thank you,
dude.
Chick-fil-A, our sponsors.
And I'll end with this last one. I won a 20-month supply of Dippin' Dots from a Facebook promotion. They would ship a gallon bag in a dry ice container every month. It would only last about 3 days before melting, and I was in college, so I just threw monthly Dippin' Dots parties. It made for a great pickup line.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, certainly that is an icebreaker.
Right.
Come on over. But Dippin' Dots are fucking disgusting.
Dippin' Dots are
and
the worst.
I will never understand why people eat them.
It's my kid loves them, of course, because kids love them.
But do they really? Do people really love Dippin' Dots?
No, I think he just loves the experience. Yes, he loves the experience of it. And it just it makes me mad every time we're at the zoo and I have to spend $6 on a small Dippin' Dots. I'm like, this is gross and not real ice cream.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
They make me angry, actually.
Oh man, okay, so one time I was doing a show in West Virginia with my friends Josh Sneed and Mike Cody, and we all went to this a fun, they had laser tag and games and whatever during the day. We're a fun zone, yeah, something like that. And I can't remember what the name of it was, but we were asking this lady, we're hey, is there an ice cream place nearby? We really want to go get ice cream. And she was like, well, there's Dippin' Dots up the road. That's future ice cream.
Come on, ice cream.
It's future ice cream.
For astronauts from the future.
You can go to
I love that
Dots.
it's still considered ice cream from the future when it's been around for 30 years and it's not going anywhere. It's absolutely gross.
It's disgusting.
All right.
Good list.
So are you guys ready for our
Top 5?
Top 5 this week?
All right, this week, I feel like this is going to be it probably is going to be a little bit controversial.
I think so.
Yeah, I had a hard time with this.
This was hard.
Yeah, so this is our top 5 rom-coms.
Yeah.
And I want to say, okay, so there were some, I had to make some like rules for myself.
Okay.
Because like there were some movies, like when I was kind of like looking at lists to be like, okay, well, I didn't really actually pull very many from lists because I was like, I don't agree with these. These are all just like the ones that people think they should pull.
Right.
But
I didn't consult any lists. I went full on. What does my heart tell me?
what does your heart tell you?
I'll tell you.
You tell me what your heart tells me.
That's
But
a
I
good
want to say I
point.
didn't like a lot of these had some that I was like, I don't consider these rom-coms. Like I didn't consider Princess Bride a rom-com.
Yeah, I don't consider that.
I
a
don't
rom-com.
consider Clueless
I didn't either.
or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That was on like a lot of
That's
lists.
Not funny. But you know, Jeff, my friend, that
Yeah.
he edited that movie.
Well, great job, Jeff.
I know, great job.
Good
Jeff.
job. It made a lot of top, like, you know, rom-coms of all time lists.
It's a Michelle Gondry
but I think
movie.
it's
amazing.
I think it is not a rom-com. It's a great movie.
Right.
But not a rom-com.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start.
Okay.
Okay, so my number. Well, I guess we're going 5, 4, 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Okay, so this movie is not a lot of people have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it came out, I think, like 10 years ago, maybe. But it's one of the, and it's a movie that's making fun of rom-coms.
Okay.
It's like it pokes fun at everything.
Yeah.
And it's a satire, but the cast is incredible, and I laughed so hard when I saw this. Have you ever seen They Came Together with Amy Poehler? and
No,
Paul
I have
Rudd?
not seen it, but it was on a bunch of lists, and I was like, why have I not seen this? I need to watch it.
It
So I
is
have not seen it.
So funny.
Yeah.
I like the first time I saw it, I was crying. I've watched it a ton of times, and every time I laughed so hard every time.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
Okay.
It's so great. And
I mean, I love
Paul,
them.
you can't beat Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So,
amazing. Okay.
It's not your classic rom-com. It's more of it's
Yeah.
a rom-com, but it's one that's making fun of rom-coms.
Yeah, which I love. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to say this is such a cheat, but I have my number 5 is a tie with a bunch of a tie
Okay.
for a bunch. Okay, it is a tie for Definitely Maybe, When Harry Met Sally, 13 Going on 30, 10 Things I Hate About You, Amelie, Love Actually, Moonstruck, Palm Springs, Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
What?
Bridget
You
Jones'
need
Diary,
all of this in
and
one?
Obvious Child. Those are my top. Those are my number 5. All I couldn't choose. They're all a tie.
All right, I don't. That is such bullshit. You know it.
I know
You
it is.
know it's
I
bullshit.
do. I know it's bullshit.
Okay,
I know
there are
it's
some
bullshit.
good ones in there. Say them again.
Okay.
slower.
Definitely Maybe.
Say them with conviction this time.
Okay, I just was trying to get them all in.
I know.
I was trying to get them all in before you stopped me and told me that it was not against the rules. Although we make the rules. We fucking make the rules.
All right, fine. Go.
Okay. Definitely Maybe.
Which one is that?
It's
Ryan
Ryan Reynolds and his daughter, and he's talking about
Oh,
his mother.
yeah,
I
that's
love.
cute.
I love it. It's. I had to like.
I
It's
remember
one of
that.
those that like. I think the first time I watched it, I was like, "This is fine," but then every time it comes on, I watch it, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So, and then When Harry Met Sally, which is not
that's
something
great.
that
and I
like.
can't believe that's not on my list. I forgot.
It's
That it should
great,
have been.
but it also like. I haven't watched it in a really long time, so it's not a movie I could go back to over and over. But I did watch it over and over at a period of my life, obviously, namesake. It's a great movie. 13 Going on 30.
I just watched that with Louise the other night.
Did she love it or no?
We're in this phase where it's like she's now, like she's a tween.
Yeah.
And we're trying to like find things that we both like. She's really
Yeah.
into Lindsay Lohan, which is so weird.
Weird.
But we've exhausted all of her Lindsay Lohan movies. So I
Mm-hmm.
put that on for the other night. I thought she would like it, but she
Was she bored by it?
was totally bored by it. Yeah, she just like
Mm.
went to her room and started playing her drums like. What's the movie? What's the movie with Mary Stuart Masterson and Eric Stoltz?
Oh,
God!
why can't I think of it? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Some Kind of Wonderful. Oh my God!
So good. So
Yeah,
good.
So she just had to go in her room and drum it out.
Drum it
The
out.
movie made her so mad.
Okay, so it's 13 Going 30, 10 Things I Hate About You, Amelie, Love Actually, Moonstruck,
Those are good. Those are all good.
Palm Springs. Have you seen that?
No, I like started it and fell asleep. But
It's
I'll
so
go
good.
back.
It's
Okay.
so good. It almost made my higher list, but then I was
Really?
like, I think I've only seen it once, so I'm like, I can't. I think I just really liked it of the time because it was like a movie. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and so it was like,
Yeah.
a feel good movie in the pandemic. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Bridget Jones'
That's a good
Diary,
one.
and Obvious Child. Those are
Those are all good.
That's my ties. My tie for fifth.
All right, cheater. My next one is a guilty pleasure movie, but it's one of those movies that I could watch over and over again. And I watch it every time it comes on. Is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, I would watch
good
that.
one.
Yes, over and over again. My number 4, I think, is one that probably most people have not seen, but it is a movie. Maybe not most people haven't seen, but when I mention it, nobody knows what I'm talking about. But I watched it ad nauseum when I was a teenager. It's Shag.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah,
It's like they're in the 60s, and that Shag is like the dance, and it's just like
I remember that, but not enough to say if it's good or not.
It was like Dr. Dudefuck, who's my like best childhood friend. If you're coming from Dunlove, Erin, she and I watched that movie like literally over and over and over and over. Like could not. I don't know why we like glommed onto it, but like we can still quote from that movie that nobody
Who's
ever
in
knows.
It?
It is Phoebe Cates.
Oh, okay.
And Bridget Fonda.
Oh, great.
And some other people that you would recognize that I can't think of their names right now.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look it up.
Some blonde lady, some guys.
Doing stuff, talking, not talking.
And cool, doing dancing, the Shag, the dance. They're in a dance contest. It's great.
My next one is it's one that like I used to love it and I would watch it a lot, and now I feel like I would take this off and replace it with something else. But like it's so funny because the concept and the premise is actually super fucked and would never be made, even though this was only this was only made like 20 years ago, I think. Yeah, is Never Been Kissed. Which, like, the idea is that Drew Barrymore,
she goes back to high school?
Yeah, she goes back to high school, and then she falls in love with her teacher. Yeah. And he has a crush on her, but they can't do anything. But it's still wildly inappropriate all around.
I feel like I remember thinking it was inappropriate at the time. Yeah. Being like, I can't cognitively get on board with this. I can't quite. Who was the guy?
Like, loving it. I don't think he went on. Oh, he was, like, on that Jennifer Garner show. What is that called?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
She was like
she was like married to him. Maybe
was she?
Maybe
before.
Yeah, before like after
the Affleck.
Before the Affleck, after Scott Foley. I think she's been married a bunch of times.
Oh, well, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Who was on Alias with her.
Alias, that's the name of it. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, my number 3, which I think I would say if I was doing my overall movies, might be one of my number 1 movies. Like I would say it's like, if anybody asked me what my favorite movie, I would probably name this movie. But I think in terms of just like pure rom-com, it's only number 3. High Fidelity.
I have that on my list.
Yeah, it's
so
a perfect
good.
movie.
I love High Fidelity so much.
It's a perfect movie. It like is so not realistic, but like realistic about like love and kind of like how you can like when you're in a relationship like you lose that like puppy love. I just saw like that movie. No movie has like really spoke to me like that. Like that was one of the first movies that I was like, wow, I get this. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, and it's the cues. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and then what resonated with me is the way that you attach songs to people. Yes, and times and like they're like just how like it's so funny how a song that could be so special and amazing to you can and a perfect song could be something that you're just like shut it off, I can't. You just cannot go back to that place.
I love it.
And you can love and hate a song based off of what emotion is connected to it, and a person can completely ruin that experience for you. Speaking of the cues. So my number 4, or my number 2, I would say, I'm going backwards. My number 2 is Say Anything.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You know what? I've seen it, obviously. I've seen it. But it wasn't like something that I watched over and over. So I'm not like the most familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
Like I've seen it. I've seen it several times. I just can't like, I feel like if I watched it
again. You can't like quote it.
Yeah, I can't quote it. Okay, my number 2 is About Time. Have you seen it?
Is that the one where they like time hop and it's Paul? Is it Paul Bettany or the guy that looks
Not
like
Paul Bettany.
the
It's
other redhead
yes,
dude?
the redhead,
Okay.
and I love it so much. It makes me cry every time.
Really?
It's so
I don't wanna
good.
cry.
Oh, but it's like
Do you
beautiful
like-
and funny and
Is
lovely.
it with Rachel McAdams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. I
I
think
feel like
it's
the
a
premise of
wonderful,
that movie
beautiful
just
movie.
makes me want to cry, and I just don't want to go to that place. Is it like to where they're just like not quite?
No.
syncing up
It's not like
and they can't
the
get
lake
to
house.
each other?
No, they're with each other the whole time.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe I'll give
You
it a
should.
shot.
I
Okay.
Watch
I thought
it.
that it was about that, like, they just, like, would, like, fall in love and then he would disappear. And then she
No.
would disappear and they just couldn't quite sync up. And I was like, that just
No. I
sounds
think that's
torturous
the-
and I don't want to do that.
I think that's the time traveler's wife that you're thinking of. That I think she was also in.
Yes!
Yeah, this is not
Okay.
that. This is with
Rachel, expand your horizons.
This is so good. It is with the redhead guy, not Paul Bettany, the redhead guy who is also in Harry Potter.
Yes,
who has
yes.
been in a million things. Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall Gleeson.
Okay.
And who you would recognize, of course, and it's so charming and British and wonderful, and I love it.
All right.
You guys will love it. You love it if you haven't seen it. It's
Okay.
could be top one,
Well, I already gave away what my number one was, and it's High Fidelity.
which
That's
is
what I had.
like a perfect
Yeah.
choice.
Mhm.
A perfect choice. I mean,
Yes.
you can't fault it. And my number one is Notting Hill.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's the rom-com that I could watch every time. I mean, Ben loves it too. Like we watch anytime it's on, we'll watch it all
I
the way
don't think
through.
that I've ever watched it all the way through.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot.
It's so good, and it's a young Hugh Grant who is just so gorgeous. And a
Pre-Pros.
young
Pre-pros.
yeah, pre-pros. I was like pros.
One of my favorite abbreviations for a word is pros. For
Pre-pros.
prostitute. Or statute. You can go either way. You can say. But I don't think you're supposed to use that
No,
word
you're supposed
anymore.
to say sex worker now.
Sorry,
Jen.
sex worker. But if we were to use the word prostitute, pros or statute, it's way more fun.
It was
If you say it either way.
Yeah, and a like young, gorgeous Julia Roberts. I mean,
Of course.
just
Yeah.
so great. Yeah. All right. Well, we want to hear what were your top 5 rom-coms. I feel
What
like
are we missing? I feel like we're missing some
Yes.
major ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every Meg Ryan.
I don't think we named a single Meg Ryan. Did
when
we?
Harry Met Sally,
yeah,
but
okay.
in my
Yeah, but we didn't do like when you've got mail.
Yeah, I
when
don't.
You've got mail. When you've got mail.
A bird sings, an angel gets its wings. Yeah, I'm curious. I think that we could do like a brackets on these of like
Yeah.
what's the overall rom-com. So yeah, we'll put up a poll. We want to hear what your favorite rom-coms are, and then if we get enough answers, we'll do a bracket. Who doesn't love a bracket? Everybody. Jen doesn't know what a bracket is, but
I do. It's for basketball sports and Final Fours. I know what a basket is.
you got a basket.
I know what a basket is.
You guys come back next time. We are so grateful you're listening. You can find us on all of come on back next time. I don't know where that came from. Cut that one out. You guys, thank you so much for listening. You can find us on all the social media. We're at Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod. We're on TikTok at The Ridiculous Podcast. You can email us at theridiculouspodcast@gmail.com. We have a website, theridiculouspodcast.com. And most importantly, if you could please rate and review, share the podcast on social media, tell a friend. We're just starting out, so we really, really appreciate any little bit of that. That would be amazing.
We would love it, and we'll see you next time on The Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridic. You.